y'all. For those of you that know me, or I'm sure I've mentioned this on previous videos, but I am an OG Hunger Games girly. These are like my favorite books when they came out. Like, I was seriously so obsessed. If you could see my Instagram feed from back when these movies came out, all I posted about was Hunger Games because I was so excited to watch these movies and see these books that I was like obsessed with come to life. Well, I am kind of feeling the same way again because we have The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes coming out on the 17th, I believe. So I thought it would be fun. I have read this book. I read it when it first came out. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember hardly anything about it. I think I enjoyed it. I don't remember loving it as much as I loved the first book, like The Hunger Games, but what I would do when a new movie would come out is I would reread that book. So I'd read the whole series, but like when Hunger Games came out, reread Hunger Games. When Catching Fire came out, I reread the first two and then went and saw the movie, and then same with the third one. I reread all three of them, went to the movie. So I thought it'd be a lot of fun to reread The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and then go to opening night. Obviously, opening night is a little different than it used to be. I'm still so sad that these are like not a thing anymore, but I saw Hunger Games when they did like midnight premieres on Thursday, and it was like this huge event, and they would have vendors come and sell Hunger Games merch. I'm really sad. I think I got rid of my t-shirts from those premieres, which why would I do that? But anyway, so the premieres are not quite the same, but I still want to go on opening night. I'm feeling very nostalgic. Plus, like I said, I haven't read this book since it first came out and I don't remember anything about it, so I'm excited to reread it. So let's get started. It was like page 1 and I already had all these thoughts. I'm several chapters in now. I'm not sure exactly how far into it I am, but Snow has already met Lucy. First of all, I totally forgot that a lot of the people in the Capitol were like poor. Well, maybe not a lot of the people, but people in the Capitol had been affected by the war, especially Snow's family. They're not very well off, which, I mean, considering how they're doing in the districts, they're okay, real big shock. My camera died. I don't remember what I was saying exactly, other than I forgot that people in the Capitol were poor. Obviously not on the same level as people in the district, but I do find it very interesting that if you are a child of the Capitol, I'm talking especially the ones like Snow that were kind of raised during the war, they're from their side, they're like, oh, the rebels attacked us, like our family members died because of the people in the districts and it made our lives really hard and we've suffered from the war. Of course the rebels are bad. And it's just like, do they have a chance to not grow up to be horrible people? Like, I don't know. I also think it's interesting that you can kind of hear his thoughts on like, this is how I'm going to play things and strategize to survive. Just like in the Hunger Games, you have that point of view from Katniss. It obviously feels very different with Snow. It's like, it feels gross, maybe because you know that he's like on the wrong side, but I don't know. It's just interesting that there's like that same like gameplay and mindset, but it feels a lot more justified when it's coming from Katniss than it does from Snow, if that makes sense. Also, totally forgot that Tigress was his cousin. I like read that on the first page and I was like, what the heck? I totally forgot that that was the thing, because obviously they don't talk about that in the Hunger Games, but it's just so weird that I'm trying to remember what happens for her to go from being like, and they're like really close. It's not like they're just cousins that see each other occasionally or don't get along or get along, you know, like they're close cousins. They live together, they support each other. So like what changes for her to like help Katniss in the end? I don't remember, but I'm excited to find out. These are some of my favorite snacks. Okay, I am over halfway through this book. I just wanted to update real quick before I keep reading. Snow drives me crazy. I mean, the frustrating thing is you know how he's gonna turn up in the end because of the Hunger Games, but I'm still just like rooting for him to be good. And like there are moments where I'm like, oh, he actually could have a good heart, and then he has some like super narcissistic thought and I'm just like, you're gross. I don't like you. Especially with his thoughts towards Lucy. Very like, she's mine, but it's not a possessiveness in like a sexy way, if you know what I mean. My morally gray girlies out there will understand that. Also, I think I get super shocked at how barbaric the Capitol is in these books, dragging the tributes through the street that had stopped living before the Hunger Games started. I'm trying to find a way to say that without getting blocked on YouTube. I'm not really sure the words I am allowed to and allowed not to say. But them finding Marcus still alive and strapping him up in the arena is so sickening. I can't imagine. I just forget how dark these books are. I really like his two classmates that are so against the Hunger Games. Sejanu and Lestrada. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing their names correctly. It's been driving me crazy while reading the book because I think I pronounce it differently every single time I read one of their names, and then Tigress, but she's obviously not involved with the Hunger Games like he and his classmates are. But it's just nice because they feel so wrong, like obviously wrong, and so it's frustrating that so many people are on board with it. So it's nice to hear a couple other people that are raised in the same situation that have different thoughts. Obviously Sejanu or whatever is from the district, so his perspective is going to be a little different than the rest of the mentors, but like both of their characters. Not being able to hear Katniss's thoughts in the movie, I thought like ruined her character because so much of it is in her head. I felt like when you could read her thoughts, she seemed a lot smarter and a lot more caring and a lot more courageous. I don't know. But I feel like not being able to hear Snow's thoughts in the movie will make him seem better than he is because he's a total charmer. Like that's what he does, is he just charms people. And all of the really annoying, negative, and dark thoughts he has, like, we're not gonna hear that in the movie. I mean, I guess unless they do like the voiceovers or whatever of like people's thoughts, I don't think they'll do that. But I just feel like it'll make Snow look really good. Maybe I guess up until towards the end when his actions become more questionable, but he also flip-flops on Lucy so much, which is another thing you wouldn't know without being able to read his thoughts. Like any little inconvenience happens or something and he's like, oh, do I really love Lucy Gray that much? Or like, I think I'd be okay without her. And he's such a jerk. I can't stand him. This book has been so frustrating to read because he's just such an unlikable character. And I feel like towards the beginning, I was really rooting for him to not be who he is, but he just gets worse and worse as the book goes. I had totally forgotten about what happens with Sejanu. So frustrating. Okay, I finished it. I'm done. I can't believe how quickly Snow turns on Lucy Gray in the end. And it's so maddening that we just won't know what happened to her. I hate that in books. No wonder I couldn't remember how it ended because part of it's a mystery. But I also think it's so gross that he basically takes over Sejanu's spot in the Plinth family, especially because he's the reason Sejanu's not there. And he looks down on the Plinths so much. Like he's so pretentious. And I can't stand him. I seriously go from having hope for Snow at the beginning to completely disliking him by the end. And it's frustrating because you know he's gonna win, like what his outcome is, because you see it in the Hunger Games, but I still like hope something stops him along the way, but Ursajanu figures it out and like takes him down. I don't know how you possibly do that, but I do have tickets to go and see this tonight, and I'm very excited to see how it plays out on film, just because of what I was saying before, where I feel like not hearing his thoughts will be to his advantage. Plus, this book has a different vibe than the first 3 Hunger Games, just because I think because Lucy Gray and Katniss's characters are so different. Like Lucy Gray is a performer and it just has this whole different feel to it. Does anybody else feel that way? Also, there's like years and years in between, so I'm sure Suzanne Collins' writing is a little bit different. But I just cannot wait to go and see the movie and compare it to the book. I am so pumped to go see this movie tonight. I'm feeling very nostalgic, like I'm back in high school, going to see the Hunger Games again on premiere night. I got a couple girlfriends that I'm going with, so we're actually gonna go and eat beforehand. And then I can't wait to see how this movie turns out. Okay, I just got home from the movie and that actually ended up being so good. I felt like they followed the book along pretty well. Obviously, it's a movie, so they had to cut some stuff out, which is always disappointing, but the actors who played Snow and Lucy Baird do such a good job. Snow, at the end, with what happens between him and Lucy, he gets so scary, but they did such a good job and it was a lot of fun. Of course, I want to know what you guys thought about either if you read the book or if you went and watched the movie, so you'll have to let me know what you thought about it. I also just had to add real quick that I loved all the music in this movie. I can't ever picture it in my head to where it sounds good like while I'm reading lyrics, so I really loved what they did with the music in this show. As always, you can follow me on Instagram to see what I'm currently reading or if there are any changes to my upload schedule, and I will see you guys next Wednesday.